The Southampton to Liverpool pathway has been a well-travelled one over the past few years. Since 2014, Liverpool have handed over nearly £100 million to the southcoast club, and it could have been closer to £150 million had they secured a deal for Virgil van Dijk back in the summer. The Reds have plundered £98 million on players from the Saints in the Premier League era, with some varying successes, but it is telling that 4 of the 5 players signed in the last 3 years remain at Anfield currently. Photo by Jan Kruger. Getty Images. Adam Lallana, Dejan Lovren, Sadio Mane and Nathaniel Klein were all regulars in a team that qualified for the Champions League last term. Peter Crouch was also brought to Anfield in the summer of 2005 as Rafa Benitez looked to add more firepower to a side that were fresh from winning the Champions League. Photo by Liverpool FC. Liverpool FC via Getty Images. Welsh goalkeeper Paul Jones was also drafted in on an emergency loan in 2004 as Gerard Houllier moved swiftly to find cover. In total, it's 7 transfers from Southampton since the Premier League was formed in 1992, and ahead of the Saints' visit to Anfield on Saturday, we take a look at how they have fared. Paul Jones signed 2004. Paul Jones playing for Liverpool FC. Welsh goalkeeper Paul Jones was signed on a 1-month loan by manager Gerard Houllier in 2004 to ease an injury crisis. Both Jerzy Dudek and Chris Kirkland were out, meaning Houllier had to act quickly. As a Reds supporter, Jones, who hadn't played for Southampton since the previous November, jumped at the chance. He described it as a dream come true and said, "Whether he played 1 game, 2 games or whatever, I am just relishing the chance to play a part." In the end, it was only 2 games, but he did become Liverpool's oldest debutant since the Second World War, starting for the Reds aged 36 years, 8 months and 23 days old. He won't be a fan's favourite for his on-pitch contributions as they were so few, but he did talk the talk. He said, "I'd never touched this as Anfield sign when I was an opposition player. I think that tradition should be reserved for Liverpool players, so to get to touch it and know that I was touching it as a Liverpool player meant everything." Peter Crouch signed 2005. Peter Crouch of Liverpool celebrates with his teammate Dirk Kuyt after Crouch scored the 3rd goal for Liverpool during the UEFA Champions League quarter-final, first leg match between PSV Eindhoven and Liverpool at the Philips Stadium on April 3, 2007 in Eindhoven, Netherlands. Photo by Phil Cole. Getty Images. Crouch signed for Liverpool as European champions back in 2005 as Rafa Benitez looked to bring some physicality to his forward line. The 6'7" striker initially struggled to adapt to life at Anfield, however, and it took him 22 matches for club and country before he eventually scored his first Liverpool goal against Wigan in December 2005. The second soon followed, however, in the same game in fact, and Crouch would go on to score a further 40 more times to leave the Reds with 42 goals in 134 appearances. Crouch was part of the Liverpool side that won the FA Cup in 2006, and the beanpole striker is fondly remembered by Red supporters. Ricky Lambert signed 2014. Liverpool's Ricky Lambert celebrates scoring his team's 2nd goal against Aston Villa during the Barclays Premier League match at Villa Park, Birmingham. It was a boyhood dream come true when Ricky Lambert joined the Reds from the Saints in 2014, but events largely beyond the striker's control meant that he may look back on his time at Liverpool with a pang of regret. Working in a beetroot factory and spending time playing in the lower divisions for the likes of Rocal, Bristol Rovers and Stockport County, Lambert's rise to England international with Southampton was well documented and rightly celebrated. Signed to be a backup option to the likes of Luis Suarez and Daniel Sturridge, Lambert was thrust into the first team and ordered to deliver after injury robbed the Reds of Sturridge, and a lack of form and interest plagued Mario Balotelli, who was signed as Suarez's ill-judged replacement. Lambert always gave his all for the Reds, but Rodgers' side toiled with the ex-Macclesfield striker leading the line, and he left after netting 3 goals in 36 appearances. Sadly for Lambert, the striker never scored a goal at Anfield before leaving for West Brom in a £3 million deal in 2015. Adam Lallana signed 2014. Adam Lallana of Liverpool during the friendly match against Hertha Berlin. Image Andrew Powell. Liverpool FC via Getty Images. Lallana joined the Reds for around £25 million in the summer of 2014 and initially found it tough alongside many of his teammates as Rodgers struggled to adjust to the loss of Suarez and get the best out his squad after a summer outlay of well over £100 million. The England playmaker showed occasional flashes of brilliance but struggled to make his mark on a consistent basis for Rodgers' Reds as injuries seemed to stop him in his tracks whenever some head of steam was built up. Klopp's arrival in October 2015 coincided with Lallana developing the consistency that was previously lacking, and this season, in particular, the midfielder has started to justify his reputation and price tag. Lallana eventually won over most of his doubters and is currently England's Player of the Year, having picked up the gong back in January. A key component of Klopp's midfield, his pressing, is important for Klopp's way of playing, but the 29-year-old hasn't featured this season after injuring his thigh back in August. The ex-Southampton captain is on the mend, however, and is expected to return imminently. Dejan Lovren signed 2014. Dejan Lovren at the end of the game. Image John Powell. Liverpool FC via Getty Images. Lovren arrived at Liverpool in the summer of 2014 as the most expensive defender in the club's history, a title he still owns after the Reds' failure to snare Van Dijk. In truth, it's been a mixed bag for the £20 million centre-back. He initially struggled to settle in Rodgers' defense, and looked a big mini misfit at times with some error-strewn performances. Klopp's arrival in October 2015 gradually saw an upturn in form. Lovren established a partnership with Joel Matip last season to help Liverpool over the line in their top four quest. However, the criticism has never been too far away for the Croatian, who arguably reached his nadir by being substituted after half an hour of the 4-1 defeat to Spurs last month. Capable of looking the dominant centre-back Liverpool sorely need when on form, but overall game is blighted by unforced errors. Nathaniel Clyne signed 2015. Nathaniel Clyne during a pre-season friendly match between Tranmere Rovers and Liverpool at Prenton Park on July 12, 2017. Image photo by Alex Livesey. Getty Images. Arguably the most dependable member of the Reds squad, Clyne has been a beacon of consistency since his £12 million move in the summer of 2015. Clyne motors up and down the right flank every game with minimum of fuss, but has seen competition emerge this season through Trent Alexander-Arnold and Joe Gomez. Clyne had barely missed a Liverpool game up until this season. He's 7 away from 100 appearances for the Reds, but the England back has been absent all campaign with a back problem. The former Southampton defender underwent a corrective operation in London on Monday as the Reds look for a cure to the long-standing issue. Sadio Mane signed 2016. Liverpool's Sadio Mane during the training session at Melwood. Image Peter Burnpa wire. While all Clyne initially found it difficult adjusting to the demands placed on them after making the move from Southampton to Liverpool, Mane has simply embraced them and hit the ground running at Anfield. Eyebrows were raised when the Reds raided the Saints yet again and spent £30 million on the Senegal winger, but the African spent his first campaign at Anfield making those early fears look laughable. The Sheffield wideman netted 13 goals before his season was ended in the Merseyside derby on April 1. However, the Senegal speed merchant wasted little time picking up where he left off this term, adjusting superbly to a new left-sided role in Klopp's front three. Mane has scored 3 goals in his 6 Premier League appearances this season.